The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside off of the back straightaway. 26 and Hallmark trying to go through wide. No one's with them.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's going to dive it in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it?
Walker Thomas. Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Welcome race fans back to Primetime Racing TV in tonight's coverage of the ASRS Twitchy Race Reports Premier Cup Series at the Kentucky Speedway for what is the Bluegrass 180. We got 120 laps tonight around the Kentucky Speedway for the ASRS guys. Qualifying underway right now. And in the booth tonight for tonight's coverage is going to be myself, Corey Silva, Evan Black, and obviously I'm the one behind the cameras doing all the button work. So right now we are, as I said, under qualifying right now for race 2 for the Premier Cup Series here. Got Alex Giese on the provisional pole at the moment, 30.896 second lap time. See if we can see who is on track right now, still turning laps.
Looks like Scott Eckert is just now pulling out of pit road.
Josh Gallagher in the 96 currently on the raceway right now, and then as we said in the number 96 Ford coming on the back straightaway right now. 50 plus drivers qualified to enter this race. Only, I believe it is about 36 that are in the field for the actual race, but 14 drivers got sent home in preliminary qualifications. A huge turnout for what is a very popular league.
Yeah, fairly cool track temp, 79 degrees out there on the track. So it should be pretty grippy despite how many bumps there are on this racetrack.
Yeah, as you said, Evan, 77 degree air temp, 77 degree track temp. The wind is from the northwest at 4 miles an hour. Not sure, don't think that's going to have any real implications on these drivers, but as you also said, Evan, this is the bumpy version of Kentucky Speedway. This is the pre-paved version, so we are au naturel with the bumps. These drivers will be all over the place, bumping, swerving, losing, getting loose, saving it. Just, it's almost like a washboard effect here at Kentucky.
Yeah, especially kind of in the second and third groove. That's where most of the bumps are. So we might see this track usually, since I believe it has progressive banking, correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, but usually you do want to move up a little bit.
It is a little bit on the first groove against the yellow line where you'd want to be for the majority of tracks. It's a little bit flatter down there, so you're not going to see as many drivers, especially later in the runs, trying to run those that lane. You're going to want to be in the second lane. You can kind of see that's kind of indicated by the groove. It is a lot darker from the second groove on up.
As Jeff Ward moves up to the top of the speed charts. And that 90 Chevrolet Camaro, so SS, if I can get out the words.
Jumping the gun on the Camaro there, Evan, not quite.
I said Camaro, and then I about said Silverado.
Yeah, the trucks. SS. Yeah, the trucks are in a couple weeks, so they're all over the place, but that's just fine. Don't see anybody else on track right now.
Drew Carroll is out there. No, he's not. I'm on replay.
Yeah, I think we still have 4 minutes. Not sure if it may get bumped, but it does look like this will be the order. Actually, Scott Eckrich, remember at Richmond last week, he was up there for the majority of the race, but had a couple penalties that caused him to play from behind. Never quite got back to where he was, into the wall there on his qualifying lap.
That was his second lap, I believe. He is currently 5th on the speed charts.
Again, we want to welcome everybody here today for this race, for those on our YouTube channel and for those watching on our Facebook. Our second Facebook dual stream will be a new thing here on PTR TV for hopefully every single race. So if you're liking on Facebook and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, check us out there in the link on the Facebook post. You can get the full resolution video on that.
Like no one else is currently on track, so just waiting out the final 3 minutes here, but it looks like this will be the official starting order.
And so Evan, with the Cup cars, we know how they raced at Richmond last week. These drivers put on a heck of a show. There was a lot of side-by-side racing, a lot of green flag runs, but now that we're at a mile and a half, a cookie cutter-esque, what do you expect today with how the cars will drive and how we're going to have for the race here with this many drivers on track?
Well, I haven't driven this car here with the new aerodynamic package, and this is also an open setup league, so I really don't know how the car is going to drive, but usually here it's fairly tight, and then with this many drivers, the track's going to get really rubbered up, and they're going to possibly be up in the 4th groove. I don't think they'll quite be running the wall, but maybe a lane or 2 under it.
And we do know how the dynamic track does come into play here on the iRacing service. Really does make you change your lanes when you have a full field with a good amount of laps, which is what the situation is here tonight. I do expect maybe some significant tire fall off, especially with how these cars are going to be handling around the bumps tonight. So take a note of that. Maybe there'll be some lap time fall off. I don't think you'll see any kind of pit strategy, but I mean, we've seen some calls here before, so never take anything out of consideration.
What are you kind of expecting the fuel window to be? I would think it'd be around, usually here it's about 50 laps or so.
And we can confirm the fuel load, Evan, and then I will make my assumption.
It is 100%.
Full fuel load, I'm going to go with, on fuel, 60 laps. But I do not think there will be a single driver in the field that will go 60 laps, so...
But if you go 60 laps, it will be a one-stop race.
It'll be a one-stop race, but with the time that I'm expecting you to lose, I feel like
you'll probably fall off, I would think, about 3 seconds?
I'm going to say
maybe more?
Yeah, 3 to 4 seconds I would expect, so... If you do stay out trying to be Mr. Fuel Mileage, I think those new tires are just going to zoom right past you like you were sitting still. But again, I have been wrong, and more often than not, I am. So that's why you got to stay tuned and watch the race with us live here tonight on PTR TV. Qualifying is wrapping up. Again, haven't seen anybody else on track, so once we officially get the switch over, we will give you the starting lineup.
20 seconds remaining.
And that is just about going to do it. So let's get the switch over here and get you your starting lineup here from the Kentucky Speedway for the ASRS Premier Cup Series by Twitchy Race Reports. I'm jumping the gun for tomorrow's broadcast already. On the pole here tonight is Jeff Ward with his 30.768 second lap. We offer him our congratulations on that. Drew Carroll on the outside pole here tonight. Then we have Nicholas Cohan in third, Ryan Kuhn in the fourth spot. In the position number 5, we'll find Scott Eckrich with Alex Giese in 6th, Jared Haggerty and Jordan Ashland 7th and 8th, and rounding out the top 10, Steve Buhala and Brian Yazik.
And Ty Hester starting 11th, Mark Emerson to his outside, Jared Mogard in 13th, Tom Gianni to his outside, Ryan Hartz in 15th, Michael Krobach in 16th, and then Woody Mahant, Jonathan Holstein, Troy Haight, and Alan Young round out the top 20.
In the 21st spot, we will find last season's truck champion Jason Stewart, and then Josh Gallagher. Chris Titus 23rd, Scott Smith in 24th, Steve Ritter in the 25th position, Alex R. Bowman, not the NASCAR driver, in 26th. Then we have Rick Thompson, John Kennedy, Lee Staples, and Pete Baskins, your top 30.
And then Jim Foose, Brad Cross, Sam Maxwell, Jamie Moore, and then Tim Knott and Scott Hull are rounding out the field. I believe those are the drivers for making this race.
39 drivers here took a time. Well, 39 drivers rather will take the grid here tonight from the Kentucky Speedway. Remember, there were over 50 entries here tonight. A lot of drivers weekly trying to get into this very astute league, the Twitchy Race Reports ASRS Premier Cup Series. On Primetime TV, we'll be bringing you every single Tuesday night here with the ASRS Cup Series and the Truck Series here on PTR TV for the entire 2018 campaign. So if you're a fan of these guys, stay tuned. Book your Tuesdays with here on PTR TV every single week as we are rolling off the grid, getting ready for some racing.
How many drivers are making the field? Is it 36?
Well, we just read off 39 off the grid, so I see 37, I think 37, actually about 34 on the track, but there was a 39 car grid. Down the back straightaway, assembling behind the iRacing.com pace car. Be 120 laps around this facility, equaling 160 miles here. Scheduled distance tonight. We have Jeff Ward in the 90 on the pole. We have Drew Carroll starting to his outside here as we come through turns 3 and 4, getting ready to get this race underway. Pace car soon takes that hard left into pit lane. There it is. We wait for the 90 to get on the loud pedal, and there he goes. Jeff Ward on the loud pedal, green flag in the air. We're racing ASRS Premier Cup Series. Already out to a pretty good start is Ward in the 90 machine, but here comes the 57. He gets himself into line. That's Nicholas Cohan. And then Scott Eckrich in the 88 is able to clear for the 3rd spot. Single file already is the top 5 here as we navigate through turns 3 and 4.
Looks like even the top 10 single file now.
Right now, battle.
First action is going on to the 27 of Jordan Ashland, looking under the 77.
Alex Giese here as we enter turn number 1. You can see here 77 all the way right on the Larson line here. Not quite in is that groove quite yet. That gives Jared Haggerty the inside groove.
Haggerty has the advantage going into turn number 3. 77 is letting him go. Ripping back single file for around the top 15 or so.
Taking it easy so far, just letting these tires wear in, getting a feel for the racetrack, how the car is going to be. Nicholas Cohan in the 57. He was right on the back bumper of the 90. Lost about a car length here, but looks like he's trying to take a little bit out of that lead, make a move here.
Looks like the first battle right now is the 00 Mogard versus the 44 Tom Gianni. Mogard on the inside going down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. Looks like he will clear.
Jared Mogard, if I remember properly, he won the final race of the 2017 season at Homestead in the trucks. We saw him win that race and see what he can do in the Cup Series here. As looks like behind him is a little bit of action going on.
59 of Hart's got really loose into turn number 1. Did a pretty nice job hanging on to that machine.
Brian Hartz is a driver we see in the Hardline Racing League that we also cover on this channel. Remember, he's been very successful over there. Let's see what he can do in the ASRS League. Right now, he's trying to hold off Woody Mahon in the 40. He will do so, running that higher groove, getting that momentum built up.
It's now Michael Krobach is looking under the 44 of Tom Gianni. Gianni running that really high lane. He's up in the marbles. That's going to give the 72 of Krobach the position.
As you said, Evan, the marbles are up there. This track is not clean, so it is already worn in from all the practice they had. So if you get too high, you are going to have to fight that machine a little bit.
Up and around the third groove is where the marbles start to form right now. The more they run up there, the more it'll get clean off.
I want to go back to the front, Evan, kind of oxymoron there, but the battle for the lead is starting to shape up, and the top 7 or so are under a blanket now, all getting very close together. You can see right now Scott Eckrich in the 88 is running a little bit lower of a line than the 57 of Cohan here, but Cohan also is at the same time gaining on Jeff Ward.
Yeah, Eckrich might be running a little bit lower, just trying to get a little bit of air on that nose to help him turn. And see again in 1 and 2, he's running the lowest of those top 3.
As I said, it is a little bit harder to run that lower lane, but as the other grooves wear in, there is going to be some remaining grip down there, which may make it favorable. Looks like Cohan is trying to take advantage of that, but through 3 and 4, Ward got a pretty good run and stabilizes that advantage.
Yeah, looks like the top 3 did not gain or lose anything out of turn number 4 and down the front stretch. 88 of Eckrich diving it down into turn 1, almost underneath the 57 of Cohan.
Trying to test out that inside groove the last time by, not getting anything with it. Ended up losing a little bit on corner exit. Gonna jump way back in the pack here. We have some interesting racing going on. Pete Baskins in the number 3, trying to take a look under the 22 of Mark Emerson. Jim Foose in the number 42 Tide machine there. The Tide Pods machine, disclaimer, those are not edible. Foose to the inside of Pete Baskins here in turn 1 and 2. And now Sam Maxwell, primary sponsor of the Cups of the Truck Series, rather. He's behind this battle, trying to get to the outside of Foose, but doesn't know where to go with this side-by-side going on.
So he's trying to go through the middle. It's 42 of Foose getting loose down in turn number 3 and 4. Will give Maxwell the position.
Yeah, Foose went for a pass, and we see that happen quite a bit, as right now, who is that? Troy Haight in the 28 running the top, as Foose is trying to hold on the inside there. We see it when you try to make a pass. Sometimes you actually end up losing a position if you lose your momentum running a certain lane.
Yeah, and right now it seems like the second and third groove are kind of the place you want to be, at least for passing people.
Gonna jump cut back to the front as Scott Eckrich is still doing his best to get around Cohan. He got a pretty good run but lost it, but that battle is still rather intense.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like any of them have gained or lost on either of those top 3.
Is that English, Evan?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
All right, so let's bring up kind of get a reference as to who's running what right now. We'll bring up the lap time graphic here as they completed lap number 11. Fastest of the top 5 will go to the 57 of Cohan. He's making that known as he is chipping away just a little bit yet again at Ward's advantage.
So it looks like the 55 of Brian Yazek is trying to get around the 6 of Haggerty. He had a pretty good run through the center of 3 and 4, but lost a little on exit.
So Evan, what would you consider to be the best way to make a pass here at Kentucky Speedway?
That's a good question that I don't really have an answer to, but I will try to answer it the best I can. Probably running a little bit higher the corner before, trying to get a run off the corner and then get to their outside down the front stretch or back stretch, kind of like what Alex Geese just tried to do to Double Zero Mogard. Just try and get on there outside and then pin him down in the corner.
Yeah, it seems that, I mean, I think in 1 and 2, you probably want to be on the top. But I think in 3 and 4, you want to be on the bottom. So if you set yourself up for one turn, you're probably going to be in a position you don't want to be in the other side of the track. Here comes Cohan. Sorry to cut you off, Evan. Cohan running the yellow line here as Ward is running a lane up. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold the run off of turn 4. He is going to not be able to. Falls back
he did hold a pretty good run, though. He's still right on the back bumper of the 90 of Ward. Once again, running a little bit lower in 1 and 2. Ward's going to look a little bit better of a run off the corner. Cohan did a nice job.
Remember at Richmond last week, Ward pretty much started shotgun on the field in the mid-30s, but ended up getting a top 5 finish, running in a spot nearly with a chance to win the race. Obviously, he did a much better job.
Here comes Cohan out of turn number 4 down the front stretch, looking under the 90 of Ward.
Now let's see. I'm going to take the 90 having the advantage with the line in 1 and 2, but can Cohan make that yellow line work? Let's see what kind of run the 90 gets off corner exit. It looks like it's going to be a good enough run, but Cohan's going to power dive it in on the bottom. I don't think he's going to be able to make anything with that move.
He got on the apron a little bit and got loose, but so did Ward.
Yep, so Ward is going to be able to hold on again. So obviously Cohan may have the faster car, but he's going to have to figure out some kind of methodology, because what he's trying is stalling him out.
Cohan getting a pretty good run out of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. Welcome to the inside of Jeff Ward. Not quite there. He's going to dive it down into turn number 3 on the bottom.
Oh, he has a surge that now. He pulled up to the door. He pulled up to the numbers of the 90 in the turns 3 and 4, but can he hold it off corner exit? I'm not quite sure.
Only thing I'm a little bit worried about with Cohan running the bottom, how he is, if he's burning his right front up quicker than maybe Ward is.
Now Ward is not having to put as much steering input to run that high groove. Obviously Cohan running that low lane is really having to crank that wheel. Looks like the 90 got a little bit loose off turn 2 that time.
The 65 of Ryan Kuhn trying to get under the 88 of Ackrich. Down in turn number 3 and 4. 88 of Ackrich on the outside, getting a pretty good run out of 4.
Oh, sideways.
Ackrich got loose. That's going to give the run to Kuhn. It looks like he will clear.
And it looks like Jordan Ashland's going to try to fill that gap in with the momentum that the 88 lost, but the 88 will be able to get in line and hold that momentum off. But he's probably upset those tires. He might have to let them cool off for a lap or 2.
Looks like Cohan is running a little bit higher now. He's actually running higher than Ward in 3 and 4. Staying even.
And just as a reference, folks, we qualified in the 30, I think the high 30-second bracket. You can see Jeff Ward's best lap was a 31 flat. Ran a 32.5, so a 1.5 seconds fall off in the 20 laps we've already run here tonight.
Yeah, and that's still about 40 more until they need to pit. They'll probably pit here in about, I would think, 20 or 30, wouldn't you, Corey?
Yeah, it all
try to do a 2-stop.
If we're going to do a 2-stop race, Evan, I'm going to come around lap 40 and do 3 segments of 40 laps. We guesstimated that we can go 60, but I think, to be honest, that's a little bit of a stretch. So, does anybody, if it's a matter of a 2-stop race or a 3-stop race, if someone tries to do a 3-stop race, do they pit on lap 30? I don't know if that's going to work, but here comes Cohan digging on that inside lane yet again, and I think this is it. I think this is the run he's looking for.
He's on the quarter panel of the 90 of Ward. It looks like Ward is running fairly high down the front stretch. Looks like he might be just yielding position.
Yep, Cohan, he got the lead, but here comes the crossover from the 90. Let's see what the 90 can do on the bottom. Hasn't been in this position yet, but he's going to have to fight back if he wants to hold the lead. He's not going to be able to do it. 57 moves to P1 here as we take lap number 23. Ward's still trying to fight for dear life, but he's going to have to concede.
So will Ward be able to fight back, or is he going to drop back? What do you think?
I mean, let's see. He may have, if he's even, maybe the 57 has him by a skosh. Maybe he can learn something, but I do think that 57 may be driving off. We know he is fast. Remember correctly, last week he was up there for the majority of the race. But let's go back a little bit to Jared Haggerty and Brian Yazik. That is for the 7th and 8th positions. Yazik
Haggerty
to the
looking to the outside. And it looks like Yazik will clear 4th position. Will the 6th Haggerty be able to fight back? Trying to do a crossover. It's not getting quite the run out of turn number 2 that he wants.
Looks like these drivers are starting to diamond this racetrack. They're running low, drifting all the way up into that 3rd lane, and then trying to cut back to the 2nd lane on exit. Kind of a short track strategy being used here on a 1.5 miler. Go back in the pack yet again. Looks like there's a battle going on between Sam Maxwell and the 96 of Josh Gallagher. Also, there was a battle between Jonathan Holstein and Scott Smith. That has ended. But here comes Holstein underneath the 24 of Alan Young. Remember, Alan Young was in the Championship 4 last season in the Truck Series. We covered that here on PTR TV.
36 of Ty Hester is trying to get by the 00 Mogard, and he's trying to bring Brian Hartz with him.
Upside.
Oh, Hester getting loose on the front stretch. He's going to lose at least 1 position. It looks like he might lose 2.
I think Hester may have hit the apron there, and that apron is even bumpier than the racetrack, so that got him a little bit loose. But here comes Hartz to the outside of, who is that, the 00 of Mogard.
Hartz driving in deep into turn number 3. Mogard trying to fight back through the center. Looks like Hartz will get a pretty good run out of 4. Mogard sliding up, gets a little bit loose.
That's
Get in position to Hartz.
Alex Giese in the 77. Where is he going to go?
He's getting loose when he moved out the track.
Yeah, that tri-oval, as sharp as it is and as on edge as these cars are, that tri-oval is not even an easy turn to make. These guys, what do we have, about 8 drivers here all in the picture right now. Very tight racing going on. Here comes Giese to the inside yet again of Ty Hester. This is for the 11th position on the racetrack right now. Michael Krobik in the 72 trying to figure out where does he go. Is he going to try to cut to the bottom? Nope, he has Tom Gianni underneath him now.
Looks like, yeah, 44 Gianni getting under the 72 of Krobik. So now Krobik is fighting back. He's looking to the middle. He's back on the outside of the 44 Gianni, trying to bring the 40 with it, or the 40 of Woody Mahan with him.
Yeah, the 40 wants to come in and play in this action too, and right now we have the 72 of Krobik to the outside. Tom Gianni and the 44 on the inside. The 77, a little bit of a wiggle here. They're going to be three wide. Through the tri-oval.
Will clear all of them.
Enter in turn number 1.
Still on the bottom, driving in deep into turn number 1.
Look at the 72 of Krobik all the way in the marbles there in the 3rd group, but look at the run he got doing so.
Yeah, part of that is because of how bad of a run the 44 got with how deep he drove it into the corner. So Corey, we're coming up on that 30 lap mark. Would you expect to see people start making their pit stops now, or another 10 laps?
I'm gonna say another 10 laps personally. I don't know if the fall off is enough to be able to warrant coming in this time, but where are we at right now? We're about a 2-second tire fall off right now from the opening juncture of the race. So I'm not quite sure, but we'll have to find out the hard way. We'll go back to the front right now. And Cohan has pulled out to nearly a 2nd lead over Jeff Ward.
Ryan Kuhn is trying to get around the 85 of Drew Carroll. Kuhn is running quite a bit higher in 1 and 2, and then just bringing it down on the exit, and that's getting a pretty good run off of the corners.
Yeah, you can see here he's just running. He's trying to run that yellow line, and you can see behind him as well, Eckrich is trying to run that yellow line, so maybe the 2nd groove's already kind of getting a little bit wore out.
It's working for Cooney. He's right on the back bumper of the 85 of Carroll.
And it's really interesting to see how upset these cars are getting even through the tri oval. I mean, I've never seen it that what's the word I'm looking for? That over the top before with getting loose in the tri oval. But here's a run potentially. Nope, not quite.
Both those drivers got loose out of 2. Now Kuhn backing up the entry into turn number 3 to get a better run off of 4, and it looks like it's working.
But it looks like the 65, even though he ran the bottom, he actually did a pretty good job that time by of keeping
who is... I'm looking... The 27 of Ashland got really loose through the tri-oval. I thought he was going to wreck that race car.
Now Ashland here in the 6th position. Let's go on board here and see if we can watch him try to go at it. See if he has to wheel it through the tri-oval at all. See, that time he seemed to be okay, but I think when they are starting to race and trying to make maneuvers in the tri-oval, that just might be a little bit too much for him. And I'll tell you, just within about the last 3 minutes, Cohan's lead has nearly doubled up to about 1.6 seconds up now over Jeff Ward is he right now.
Yeah, looks like Cohan has a really good long run car. Which I think that's what you're going to need here at Kentucky.
And then we have Ward kind of in his own bubble. And then the battle between Carroll and Kuhn. And
Eckert is trying to join that battle.
Looks like the 65 may have it this time. He takes a little bit of a look to the inside. Is he going to go for the dive? Yes, he is underneath the 85 of Carroll. But he's not going to be able to hold it on the inside, I do not believe.
He's got a pretty decent run out of 4. He's going to lose a little bit to Carroll, but pretty good for running the bottom.
Yep, nothing new in that time by. We'll go back to the 5th position. Yeah, as we said, Scott Eckridge. And then the 27 of, who's that, Jordan Ashland, Brian Yazik, Jared Haggerty in the 8th spot, and then Ryan Hart's in 9th, and Jared Mogard is your top 10. That is on lap number 36, and as I predicted, do expect some pit stops in the not too distant future, perhaps even on lap 40.
Eckert's trying to look to the outside of the 65 of Kuhn, but can't do anything quite yet as Kuhn drives in really deep into turn number 1, getting under the 85 of Carroll. Looks like he is clear right now. Still staying down in the middle of the track.
Here he comes. He has that running. I think he's going to finally get what he needs now, and Eckridge is going to try to fill in the hole and dive as well. Might even be a little bit of a 3 wide as we come off turn 4. Let's see if the 65 can hold it. A little bit of a wiggle from the 65 of Kuhn.
Eckridge giving the Kuhn a little bit of a bump draft down the front straightaway, now moving up behind Carroll. Trying to get a better arc into the corner as Kuhn drives in really deep into 1, once again trying to clear, but can't do it yet.
Yeah, he dove it in deep, but he was not able to hold it, and the 85 was able to get a run as they passed.
They're coming up on the 64 Lee Staples. That's really their first lap car.
Oop, and that's going to force a 3 wide here as we're through 3 and 4. Staples on fresh tires on the inside groove. The 85 wiggling up top right now. Staples doesn't want to get in the way of this and disturb the battle, but he has fresher tires and is trying, I believe, to get by. Not quite sure of his situation.
Eckridge is under Kuhn. Couldn't fight him back on the outside. Kuhn got a pretty good run out of turn number 2, looking under the 85 of Carroll. Once again, diving in really deep into turn number 3. Drew Carroll fighting back on the outside as Eckridge is trying to go 3 wide. He is 3 wide. Losing a little bit on exit now.
Yeah, that was a pretty good attempt from Scott Eckridge to take advantage of that situation, Evan, but we'll talk about what I was bringing up. I think this is the money lap. I will not be surprised to see anybody come down pit road this time. I think this would be a good strategy to play. Go up front. And what do you know? Never mind. I thought the 57 was slowing down there off corner exit, but he was not doing so.
Oh, here comes Eckridge and Carroll as well as Jeff Ward.
Ton of drivers.
5 so far.
See, I know a little bit about pit strategy.
Then a few more behind them. Looks like about 7 so far, 8 now.
Yep, we have Ward, Carroll, Eckrich, Ashland, Yazik, Mogard, Krobik, Geese, Smith. So pit road a very busy place here on lap 40. And Cohan, oh, thought he was pitting, but oh, here he comes on lap number 41. So he is not going to fall too far behind. And Ryan Kuhn, so nobody is playing around here. Everyone coming to pit road there to not lose the edge on tires. Tom Gianni is going to stay on track.
As well as Jared Haggerty.
Yep, Haggerty, I missed him in the 6, so he is the leader at the moment.
So only 2 drivers have not pitted, Haggerty and Gianni. It looks like Alan Young and Bill Holland now coming down.
You're not going to want to stay out too long, and only, remember we talked about, it looks like the 6 coming this time by.
Gianni staying out.
So at this point, I believe you're either going for a one-stop race or you're in desperate hope for a caution.
Which I really don't know if they can do a one-stop race after what we're seeing now with almost everyone coming down in lap 40.
Yeah, these drivers, I can tell you, Gianni right now last ran a 33.5, which was 2.1 seconds off of his best lap of the race. So are you going to want, just do the mathematics there. Here comes Gianni, so that leaves about 7 drivers still on track. It'll give Alan Young the lead off turn 4. The number 24 Costco Chevy SS. Steve Ritter still on track in the 16 car right now. Aris Sportswear Machine. He is getting passed by the 72 of Krobik on fresh tires there on the inside. And we have, who's that? Troy Haight in the 28. That's LCL Motorsports. That machine for Troy Haight. Pete Baskins in the 30, Bass Pro Shops machine. Scott Holler, those are the top 5 that have yet to pit, and Scott Holler into the fence. But he will.
It didn't look like he hit it too hard, just a little bit of fender damage.
But he's staying out. You can see these fresh tires just zooming right by him. Obviously no fight at all as he's about 3 seconds off the pace at this point. Jim Foo's passing him right now. So the question is, and like I said, we estimated that they can go about 60 laps. I'm taking that back now. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But I do think they can go mid-50s, low to mid-50s. So I'm not assuming a one-stop race to be on the cards. That's just my guess. Again, it's just my guess. But I also don't know if it's going to work just in terms of tire drop-off, even if it can happen.
Yeah, if you go a one-stop race, that'll save you, what, around 40 seconds or so? 45 seconds? And they should be able to make that up in 60 laps.
If you're gaining 2 seconds a lap over the course
at
of...
least.
Yeah, 2 seconds a lap over the course of, let's say, 20 laps, that's 40 seconds right there.
And then you're going to have an extra 40 just to pull away.
Exactly. Well, maybe... I think 45 seconds on dirt, is that about right, or you think that's a little low? But either way, I think the math still works out in the favor of doing the 2-stop race. As right now, well, let's just take a look right now. Cohan, first off pit lane, is in turn number 4 at the time of me saying this, and Young is in turn 1, so only the front straightaway of a distance. That's 10 seconds, and he is running 2.5 seconds faster. So 4 to 5 laps will have a lead change. But at that point, I think Young will still not even want to be pitting yet.
Yeah, I really don't understand the strategy that much unless they're just hoping for a caution to come out right now.
But even on that token, Evan, if a caution comes out now, well, I guess you will catch everybody having to pit again that is already pitted. But we still have, right now, the top 20 have already unlapped themselves. So you're not even going to get that benefit at this point either.
You're not going to keep him a lap down, you're just going to gain some track position.
So take it for what it's worth if you think you can hang on, but you're also fighting the cards and praying for something that may or may not happen, because these guys have run a very clean race, making sure everybody is given the space they need. Obviously, we're pretty spread out now, so the caution is going to be in short supply, I do believe, here tonight.
I think the closest battle right now is between Ryan Kuhn and Jordan Ashland. About a 0.4 of a second behind him is Kuhn.
Still waiting for your leader to pit. Alan Young staying out yet another time on lap number 51. More drivers getting their laps back. More of the field still managing to get by.
You can just see the difference in tires from about 40 laps on them, how much quicker the 42 of Foose and everyone getting around the 24 is.
Yeah, so we'll see how it is. I don't think Evan and I are...
And here comes Steve Ritter in the 16 down the pit road. He was in the second.
Yep, Ritter, as you said, in the 16 to pit lane, so...
And it's Cohan up to second, which is 1 second behind Alan Young. And he is going to be on his back bumper out of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. Young giving him the outside lane. Young might be coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, I do believe he is.
Yes, he is coming down pit road.
So that is not going to work for the one-stop strategy, because just do the math. He's going to be about, 14 laps short.
It's waiting on 3 different drivers right now to pit. The 28 of Troy Haight, and then Pete Baskins and Scott Oliver.
So lap number 55 now on the books right now, and Nicholas Cohan has cycled himself back to pit lane, and based on the strategy he is on, we expect him to have to come in 25 laps, so looks like we can try to do a little bit of a through the field right now, I do believe. Right now Cohan has cycled himself back to the lead. In second is Jeff Ward. Scott Eckrich in third, Drew Carroll in fourth. Jordan Ashland in fifth, Ryan Kuhn in sixth, Troy Haight in seventh, and then Brian Yazik, Pete Baskins, and Jared Bogart the top 10. Evan.
Yeah, looks like Pete Baskins is coming down pit road, but Brian Hartson went with Michael Krobik in 12th, Woody Mahan in 13th, Scott Holler in 14th, Jared Haggerty in 15th, Alex Giese in 16th, Scott Smith in 17th, Sam Maxwell in 18th, Tom Gianni in 19th, Ty Hester in 20th.
All right, and it looks like with pit stops, I think our order is getting a little bit shaken up right now, but I think Jamie Moore is in 20th at the moment, Josh Gallagher 21st, Jonathan Holstein in 22nd, Tim Knott in 23rd, Jim Foose in 24th, under battle with 25th place driver of Jason Stewart. That is the last driver on the lead lap. And then we have Alex Bowman, Mark Emerson, who is battling with, actually that is not a battle, that is Jeff Ward. Underneath him right now, Lee Staples in 28th, John Kennedy 29th, and Steve Buhala, your top 30.
And then finishing the field is Pete Baskins, Steve Ritter, Alan Young, Brad Cross, Chris Titus. That is the 36 drivers that did start tonight.
All right, so that is the through the field.
Which one thing to point out, they are all still on track.
Yeah, we have
all 36 of them.
We haven't had any incidents of note here tonight, so actually, I mean, a couple drivers scraped the wall, but that's really all we've had tonight.
Looks like still the closest battle on track is between Jordan Ashwell and Ryan Kuhn, except Kuhn now has that position. Ashwell trying to get it back.
Yeah. This is for 5th and 6th. Kuhn doing his best to hang on to the 5th position, but looks like he is not able to shake the 27. They are, looks like they are buddies here tonight, trying to duke out for that position.
And we just had our first casualty tonight. Lee Staples has gone behind the wall.
Remember Lee Staples earlier in the race was, remember we saw him pass a couple drivers on an alternate pit strategy, but he did have some damage, so he did decide to take that machine behind the wall tonight. So the first member of attrition tonight. Actually, I take that back. We have a couple drivers off track right now. Actually, I'll take that back yet again. Looks like late.
Only 36 started.
Yeah, so Staples is the first driver to take it to the pits that did turn laps tonight, so next time I'll just listen to you, Evan, since instead of trying to correct you.
Jordan Ashwell is trying to fight back with Ryan Kuhn. It looks like Kuhn had the faster car there for a while, but 27 is trying to fight back.
Looks like every time he does gain, he ends up losing it back relatively quickly, so he's going to have to do his best.
And we are just past halfway here tonight.
And that's not the popsicle sticks.
It is the cross flags, Corey.
There we go. Right now, Tom Gianni is duking it out with the 77. Alex Giese here. This is for 13th and 14th. Sam Maxwell working his way through the field just behind this battle in 15th. Car ahead of them is not for position. That is the 3 of Pete Baskins, who's 1 lap off the pace.
Looks like Gianni will clear Giese down into turn number 3 and 4.
Maxwell.
Gianni did a little bit of a slide job. Maxwell trying to get under Giese. Sorry for cutting you off twice there, Corey.
It's all good. It's all good. But Maxwell, he gained, and then he lost quite a bit off turn 4 down the front straightaway. So he will
dive in deep into 1.
Yeah, kind of doing, remember, if anybody follows us and watched our broadcast at Martinsville Friday night, you saw one driver really diving extremely deep into the turns, but then not able to get the run off. I think that's what Maxwell's kind of doing right now. Gains it on corner entry and then loses it on corner exit, but actually didn't do that bad of a job that time off 4, held his ground. But while we have a quick moment, we're just gonna take a step away just for a brief second here, get a little bit of a break for a little side-by-side commercial break. So stay with us, we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Welcome back to Primetime Racing TV's coverage of the ASRS Premier Cup Series here at Kentucky Speedway. We are about 70 laps into this race of 120, and it's been all green so far.
Oh, that is correct, Evan. That we have run 68 laps here tonight. As you said, no cautions, 5 lead changes. Right now, Nicholas Cohan is your leader. He's led 36 laps. The other guy who has led some laps tonight is Jeff Ward in the 90. Then we had a couple other drivers lead laps on cycles of pit stops.
So with the pit stops that we've had so far, we'd expect most of the drivers to come back down to here in about 10 laps.
Yep, we saw drivers come in on lap 80. I mean, rather lap 40, so they are splitting this race up into what we assume to be 2 pit stops. So given that cycle, I'd expect some stops. Nope, caution. Well, that changes their strategy we just had. Let's see.
22 of Mark Emerson and the 16 of Steve Ritter, I believe.
Yeah, we can see the 22 slow here on the front straightaway, so.
It started with Mark Emerson and the 89 of John Kennedy. Emerson just got loose and just doored the 89. And then the 16 of Ritter had nowhere to go.
Yeah, you could see here the 22 just broke loose off a 4 and just body slammed. Who was that to the inside? I already forgot who it was.
John Kennedy.
John Kennedy, and then the 16 of Ritter, as you said, just an innocent bystander. So that is the first caution of the race, and that is at a point where, yes, they can finish it to the end, but that's going to be probably longer on tires than they wanted to go.
I think they're going to have to do it, though, because I really don't know if they can gain that much back in the amount of laps that they would have.
Yeah, I would not think so.
I think if there's no more cautions, they're just going to have to go from here to the end, I think.
Yeah, it's only going to be about 6 or 7 extra laps, so you said I am assuming they're going to have to run that out. Here comes Cohan for his, what we assume could be his last stop without the yellow flag.
Okay, there's a huge gap back to the 88 of Eckrich, or 90 of Ward, and then the 80 of Eckrich.
Yeah, so he can have the worst pit stop he's ever had, and he'll still come out with the lead at this rate.
Looks like Brian Coons went through his stall just a little bit. Got it backed up. And unsurprisingly, Cohan will win the race off pit road, but looks like, is that Eckrich? Or no, Ward off pit road second. Then Drew Carroll, Ryan Kuhn, and Scott Eckrich coming out 5th.
Yeah, no real strategy there, as you really can't afford to do so.
So Corey, do you think it'll go green to the end, or do you think we'll have another caution?
Well, cautions breed cautions, as we all know, so not really thinking anything there is going to change that part of it. So now that we're all bunched together, the race is in its waning stages. I do expect the wick to turn up as these guys are bunched together, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more. I hope we don't, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think if it's going to happen, it's going to be right after probably about within the first 5 laps after this restart. That's when everyone will be all bunched up together and racing really hard.
Do you want to take this opportunity, as I kind of brought it up silently before, I want to bring up our graphic and thank our Patreon donators who helped make this possible. It was one of our goals on our Patreon to make enough money to be able to do the Facebook dual stream. So I want to thank Cody Tabor, Ryan Hart, who is in this race, Chuck Sweeting, and Michael DeGroat, who is a big follower of PTR TV, everyone helping contribute and making this possible. So thanks to them. And if you're interested in perhaps helping us out here on PTR TV, you have the link there on the bottom, patreon.com/PTR TV. There are some rewards on the table. Krutz Custom Graphics putting up paint schemes, and we have some things in the works. So again, thanks to those who donate, and please consider it if you have the expendable income to do so. Should get the one to go this time by, we do assume.
A lot of lap cars getting the way around in front of our leader Kohan.
And that'll be interesting because we know how lap cars, well, we know how the old tires are. And let's try to see if we can figure out how long those cars, some of those cars have been out 30 plus laps, so. I think I can see Jason Stewart in the 11, he's going around now. He's been out on the track for 33 laps. John Kennedy's been out for 34. Alan Young, Ritter, Paskins, Haight, they've been out there for 20 plus laps. They're not going to be able to hang on for that much longer. Well, for that long if this stays green.
Yeah, they're just going to have to hope for a quick caution so they can come down pit road and be on the same set of tires as the leaders. Lights are out on the pace car going into turn number 3. Nicholas Kohan, the leader on the inside. 90 Jeff Ward outside. 85 Drew Carroll, second row inside, and then the 65 of Ryan Kuhn, second row outside.
So let's see here. We saw Ward take off as the pole sitter, but Kohan has been the lead car for the majority of the race since he passed him around lap 20. But Ward's going to be in prime position to make something happen here as the pace car soon pulls in. There it goes. We wait for Kohan to get this race restarted. And there he goes on the loud pedal, green flag in the air. A little bit of a stack up, about 6th on back.
Pretty good start for Jeff Ward. He will clear the 85 of Drew Carroll as the 80 of Eckrich is pushing Carroll down the front straightaway and into turn number 1. A little bit of 3 wide action going on there back in the back. Eckrich.
Huge wiggle there through 1 and 2. Here's got the 59. Here comes the 00, almost 3 wide on the back straightaway.
Eckrich following back now. He did a pretty nice job to hold on to it though, but he's going to lose quite a few spots.
Now side by side here, a little bit further back is Woody Mahan and who is that? Sam Maxwell, Jared Haggerty trying to get in the battle as well as Michael Krobik just hanging off the battle of this pack.
6 of Haggerty trying to get to the outside of Maxwell, can't do anything quite yet. As it looks like Michael Krobik got a pretty good run out of turn number 2 on the 40 of Mahan. Can't do anything quite yet.
72 filling the gap in on the outside. That's where you want to be around this speedway, it seems, here tonight. Takes a look around the outside is the 72. He will clear Mahan, and it looks like Alex Giese in the 77 going to try to take a look as well.
Ryan Hart's trying to go 3 wide between the 55 of Yazik and 80 of Eckrich. Can't do anything quite yet. Now he's looking under them.
Tried to take the power move, didn't have the momentum to do so underneath Eckrich, but they're going to get underneath Yazik here. Yazik stuck to the outside, but maybe he's not stuck. I think that's actually where he's going to want to be.
Hart's got a pretty good run out of 4. They're pretty much even down the front straight, crossing the start-finish line now.
Yazik takes a little bit more conservative approach on the outside. That's going to get him the run on exit as Hart's drove in a little bit deeper, washes up the track.
Got loose.
Really loose there down to the middle on the back straightaway, saving that machine. And here comes Maxwell with the power move underneath him.
Almost contact as Maxwell slides up on Hart's. Now I think that's the 6 of Haggerty trying to get by Maxwell.
Yeah, Maxwell took a stab at it. I think it's going to backfire as looks like Jared Haggerty in the 6 is going to try to dive it in on turn 1. Doesn't have the run quite yet. Let's see if he can manage to muster it up here through turns 1 and 2. But guys, Evan, want to go back up front, battle for the lead.
90 of Jeff Ward getting around the 57 of Kohan. We saw Ward was a little bit quicker on the short run, that original run, so I wonder if Kohan might be able to get back by him if this run keeps going.
Yeah, right now, we're not looking to have a short run. If it goes green, we're looking to have the longest, well, one of the longer runs we've had thus far, be 45 laps on tires. But let's see what the 90 can do. Maybe he's learned something that he did the first run that can help him. We'll have to find that out together.
Battle going on for 14th between Scott Smith and Alex Giese. And now the 92 of Rick Thompson trying to join that fight.
77 of Giese looks to the inside, looks to the outside, looks to the inside yet again. Trying to make something happen underneath Scott Smith. He'll take the inside lane. But Smith is going to make that outside work. The 92 machine, who is that of Rick Thompson, fills in the gap up top, down the back straightaway.
Now Giese might be stuck on the inside.
Yeah, he is, like two trailer park girls. Here comes Rick Thompson around the outside as we come off turn number 4. He's going to get that momentum. He's going to get the run, and he's going to take the 16th position away from Giese. But
now Ty Hester got a pretty good run out of 4 and down the front straightaway, trying to get to the outside of Giese.
Everyone's fighting for the outside lane here tonight. This is the best battle we have on track between about 14th on back. Rick Thompson taking a look underneath Scott Smith. Nothing doing quite yet.
Ty Hester is right to the back bumper of Alex Giese entering 3. He backed his entry off into 3, and now he got a pretty good run out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway.
2 spots on back. We just saw a pass between Jamie Moore and Tom Gianni. Moved Moore up to the 18th position. Gianni back to 19.
Now Alex Giese trying to get by the 21 of Scott Smith. He's down to the inside.
Can tell you Scott Ritter, as I just believe, take it behind the wall. Steve Ritter, excuse me. He obviously is not quite damaged. He took it behind the wall right now.
Trying to get that car fixed. He is not done yet.
I'll tell you, these guys mid-pack know how to race. They are fighting for these positions as if they are for the win. Trying to get every spot they can. Remember, over the course of a long season, every single point counts. You got to take advantage of every opportunity, every position. These drivers doing exactly that.
Ty Hester getting a pretty good run out of turn number 4. He got really loose though, down to the apron, which the apron is really bumpy at this track, so he's going to lose at least 2 positions.
Yeah, Hester back to 19th right now. Here comes, who is he racing? He's racing Tim Knott in the 41. Not a lot of room given there off turn number 2, but just enough to give Knott the advantage and the momentum, and Hester is going to have to dive. Nope, he's going to concede the spot, move into the 20th position.
Corey, was that an on-purpose pun, or did it just happen?
I don't even know.
You said there's not enough room.
That is just extremely coincidental. Go me.
Just behind them, the 42 of Jim Foose is battling with 30 of Brad Cross. I believe Cross is a lap down though.
Oh, the other way around.
That is not pole position.
Oh, Foose is a lap down and Cross is 2 laps down, so.
Still on right one way, it's not for position.
That is right. Foose not having the start to the season he's looking. I don't remember exactly where he was last week, but not the position he wanted to have, especially being in the championship for the truck series last season.
Ty Hester still trying to get around the 41 of Tim Knott. He is not going to make that work quite yet. Or now he will, actually.
Hey, it's only funny when you do it the first time, Evan. But not missing too much up front right now. Jeff Ward has pulled out to about a 4/10 second lead over Cohan. To pull out the stopwatch for the last lap. He was a couple hundredths of a second faster than Cohan, so pretty negligible. Actually, the fastest one on track. Oh, actually, it was the 90. But the 27, I'll tell you, he actually was only a couple thousandths off the pace of the 90 machine.
27 of Ashland back in the 5th position. He is a little ways off the back bumper of Drew Carroll and Ryan Kuhn. But it looks like Cohan is starting to catch Ward a little bit. Cohan was about 800ths of a second quicker this last lap.
Yeah, as you said, Evan, Kuhn, well, this has been pretty much the battle all race, at least up front. They have been going at it for this entire race. It seems like the 27, rather the 85 and the 66. 65, I'll get it right one of these times. 65 of Kuhn still trying to hold off Carroll in the 85, trying to make something happen. Nothing doing quite yet.
Cohan is running a little bit quicker than Ward. Cohan got a really good run off of turn number 2. We're going to have a battle for the lead here in a lap or two.
Cohan running right on that yellow line as low as he could possibly get. 90 still trying to run that second groove, which will give him some momentum off corner exit. That'll give him what he needs to hang on to the lead. Lap number 92.
Just past 30 laps to go. Just under 30 laps to go. Something, I don't know English that well.
Or mathematics.
Cohan looking under the 90 of Jeff Ward. Down into turn number 3, driving in fairly deep. 90 Ward trying to fight back on the outside. Get a pretty good run out of 4.
Again, can't do it. Can't have that momentum. It's not working for him. He's going to have to hang back in line. Now, Evan, is there any chance at all of splitting this stint up into 25 lap segments?
Yeah, you could do it. I don't think it's going to work well.
Do you think anyone's going to try it?
Yes, someone will. I can almost guarantee that.
And is it going to be someone of note? That's what we're going to have to watch. As the battle for first and second, the battle for third and fourth, pretty much identical right now. 85 taking another look to the inside. Nothing doing yet. Again, the outside is holding that momentum off. I almost wonder why the guys trying to pass are not taking a look to the outside as opposed to the inside. Maybe
we will see, but it looks like Cohen getting a pretty good run through 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, right on the back bumper of Ward.
If they try to run right on the back bumper, maybe try to get the try to get to the right rear quarter panel and get that way, I think that may be more beneficial because the inside is just not seeming to get anywhere.
Yeah, I think that would be an easier way to pass.
I think it'd be harder to get there, but if you are able to do it, it'd be a lot more beneficial and more likely to be able to complete it. Kuhn is, oh, this is the best run that the 85 of Carroll has had underneath Kuhn. Door to door down the back straightaway, but the 65 is starting to stretch it out, starting to get the legs on him, but the 85 will dive it in. Tried his best, but nothing doing. And again, the 65 looks like he's going to be able to hold it off, and yes, he will.
Cohen is starting to run quite a bit higher than Ward. He was up in the third groove, now bringing it down on exit of the corner. Getting a really good run out of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, looking to the inside of Ward. He is down at the door number of the 90 Ward.
This is probably as good of a run as he's had, but I think if the end result is going to end up being the same. Yes, it will. Like I said, I'm waiting to see one of these drivers try to go to the right rear quarter panel, try to get a run to the outside, maybe on corner exit or on corner entry. No one seems to have tried it.
Oh, Ward's getting loose out of turn number 2. Cohen got a really good run from that down the back turn. Once again, looking to the inside of Ward.
Is he going to try to slide job it?
He's going to try.
Is it going to work? Nope, the 90's going to get enough of a run, keep himself back going. A little bit of a wiggle from the 57 on the inside, but he's still holding side by side down the front straightaway.
Looks like the 90 Ward may clear into turn number 1. Nope, Cohen driving in really deep into 1 and 2 down on the bottom of the racetrack, getting loose, sliding up just a little bit.
And the 5-car Scott Haller is going to be in front of these drivers. I assume him to get out of the way, but we'll see exactly where he does go. He will go straight to the top, get out of the leader's way respectfully.
Into the wall. Pull it.
Yeah, he tried so hard to get out of the way, he got into the wall. Looks like he may have slowed down Cohan just a bit off corner exit, but nothing substantial.
And it looks like Carroll is finally able to get by Kuhn for the 3rd position.
Yeah, but we did miss that watching the lead battle, but the 85 has finally managed to do it. He's only about a second and a half off the lead, so wonder if he will be able to do anything with that as we now approach 20 laps to go here at the Kentucky Motor Speedway. Actually, I don't think motor is in the title. I think
it's just Kentucky Speedway.
It's not Michigan International Raceway at Richmond. It is the Kentucky Speedway here tonight for the ASRS Premier Cup Series by Twitchy Race Reports. We are entering the 20 laps to go segment, and we have a battle for the lead on our hands, 57 and the 90. Hot battle. These are the two drivers that have been up front the entire race. 57 we think is the faster car, but he's having the hard time getting by. Momentum from the 90 on the top is holding him back, but again taking another stab at it in the tri-oval.
Cohen still looking to the inside. He has not tried to get to the outside quite yet. 20 laps to go now. Will we see another caution, Corey?
I am gonna say no, but I'm usually wrong, so take that into consideration. But here comes another stab at it for Cohen to the inside.
Diving it down into turn number 3, sliding up on exit. That's the closest he's been on exit, but he's losing a lot down the front stretch. He looks like the 90 of Ward will clear.
Yep, so Ward is just doing what he needs to do for defense right now. And it's working for him, so really if he can just hold this pace, but remember, the tires are going to continue wearing. We have 19 more laps. That's a substantial amount of time. It's a lot more wear. Oh, what do you know? Looks like it's Alex Giese in the 77, sideways in turn number 1 and 2. Let's go back on PTR replay, try to figure out what happened to him.
He just got loose through the tri-oval.
Whoa, that was a hard impact.
He was just in the middle of the track through the tri-oval and just got loose. And a hard hit into the outside wall.
Yeah, he exited the tri-oval just by himself and ouch. On the exit of the tri-oval, just maybe my guess is maybe he just wore out that right rear. Was just so loose that on the exit of the tri-oval, the right rear just gave out on him.
So everyone will come down pit road, I can guarantee that.
If you take 2 tires, you may need a mental examination after this race.
Yeah, after a 30 lap stint. And there was about 2 seconds slower.
There is no way, and I do not mean to offend anybody saying that, but if you take 2 tires right now, there is just no way you are going to have a positive result. I think we can all safely say that.
We're going to have a little bit more of a battle off pit road for the lead, as Cohen is right on the back bumper of Ward.
Yeah, Cohen, if he gets actually, Ward is the pole sitter, so he will have the number 1 stall.
But if Ward overshoots his stall, Ward just has a slow pit stop. Could change things up a lot, as Brad Krutz has gone behind the wall, so only 2 drivers are not currently running.
And remember, there's quite the distance from the last pit stall to the cone. And it's going to be a race. Ward gets it.
Maybe?
Maybe?
Yep, Ward gets it.
By absolutely nothing, but Ward did get it. And we do know from what, well, we assume from what we've seen thus far, he does have the short run speed. He was able to pull out to about a half-second lead at one point.
One thing to point out, Jared Mogard made it up to the 5th position. That's the highest we've seen him, I do believe. Let's see what he can do here.
Remember last week, Cohen in the 57 won the season opener at Richmond. He wants to go back-to-back to start off this 2018 campaign. If he's going to do it, he's going to have to get by that number 90 machine, and it has not proven to be a very easy feat here tonight. Ryan Kuhn in the 65, he's gotten by on pit road, the 85 of Carroll. Remember, Carroll took so long to make that pass, but all that for naught, as he's now back behind him again.
So we'll have around 15 laps to go once we take the green. Who's your pick, Corey?
I want to go with Ward, but something is just telling me something awkward I feel like is going to happen. And I'm sticking with Ward, but I just feel like something's going to happen, and I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to go with a little bit of a underdog pick. I say underdog, but he's just in 3rd place, so I'm going to go with Ryan Kuhn.
Yeah, nothing. Always, if something could happen, especially as hard as the 57 and the 90 have been racing, there may be some intermittent contact or incidental wash up the track. Wouldn't be surprised if someone else is able to take advantage of that situation.
I think that's the first time I've said the guy in third place is underdog. Just with how good the 90 of Ward and Cohen have been.
But it all depends what kind of restart. When is Ward going to get on the loud pedal, and what kind of reaction is Cohen going to get, and then can the 3rd place driver of Kuhn follow and maybe even take the 2nd spot on the restart?
Lights are out on the pace car with a 90 of Ward on the inside on the pole. 57
on the
of
pole?
Cohen. It's lead, pole, same thing.
The mid-race pole?
Yes.
There
it's
you
not
go.
mid-race, Corey.
End of race pole.
Yes. 57 of Cohen, first row outside. 65 of Kuhn, 2nd row inside. And then 85 of Drew Carroll, 2nd row outside.
Grab a snack, grab a drink, buckle them belts tight one more time, guys, and all the fans watching on Facebook and on YouTube. It's going to be an interesting last 14 laps, an exciting last 14 laps. We're going to have a heated battle for the win between the 57 and the 90, who have been up front duking at it this entire race. Let's see what they can do, but let's not count out the 65 and the 85, and who knows, maybe someone else behind it. Are we done with the yellows? Stay tuned and find out. Evan, take it away.
Waiting for the pace car to pull down on the pit road. Coming out of turn number 4. Pace car pulling down in the pit road now, just waiting on the 90 Jeff Ford. He's on the throttle. We are back underway here at Kentucky.
He got a really good jump there. He got right at the loud pedal as soon as the pace car pulled in. The 57 is in.
Caution is out. Wreck on that restart.
Scott Holler's sideways in the tri-oval takes us straight to the pits. Let's try to see what happened.
Looks like Steve Buhala may have been involved.
They weren't even up to speed there, so not quite sure what could have happened, but let's take a stab at it. Scott Holler, oh, some wheel spin.
He was one of those wave rounds, I believe. He was on old tires.
Yeah, that's just as bad as just, I mean, there's no guessing that was wheel spin. Let's go on board here with him. Yep, that's as wheel spin as you get there, so fortunate for the 5, but it's gonna have a reset here. Just one more chance to screw up a restart, one more chance to get a run, one more chance to gain some spots, lose some spots. But we will step away here. Let's just get ready for this restart with the one more quick side-by-side. We'll be right back with you for what should be a hectic 10-lap shootout.
Welcome back to PTR TV's coverage of the ASRS Premier Cup Series here at Kentucky Speedway. We should be getting the 1 to green this time, but I know not quite. But we're about to get ready for what could be the final restart tonight.
Yep, pace car left lights on that time by, so we will have another at least 2 laps of caution. So we should get a 9-lap dash to the end. And we took our picks. I took the 90. Evan took, I believe it was Ryan Kuhn in the 65 as kind of an underdog. So
yeah, Kuhn's dropped back to 4th now. He was in 3rd.
But now that the now that Cohan kind of learned that the 90 is going to go for it really early on these restarts, do you think the 90 is going to keep doing that, or do you think Cohan might be able to stay with him this time?
If I was the 90, I would change it up a little bit this time. Maybe go a little bit later once the pace car pulls in, just to keep the 57 of Cohan on his toes.
Yeah, because if you stay predictable, you're just setting yourself up to kind of get past, because I mean, if I know what you're going to do, I have no reason not to be able to accommodate it.
2 more drivers have gone behind the wall, Jay Graves Jr. and Brad Collins. Should be getting the 1 to green here.
I don't see any reason why not. So 10 to go as they take the stripe. It'll be 9 laps to go once we get this race underway. And indeed, the pace car has turned the lights off, so this race will get resumed quite shortly. We have, who is it? We have, I believe it is 27 drivers still on the lead lap, 28 rather. But
Jeff Ward will be the leader once we get back to green. 57 to Cohan, 2nd, and then Ryan Hartz will be 4th, I believe. Or no, Drew Carroll will be 3rd, Ryan Kuhn will be 4th, Scott Eckrich will be 5th.
I think the race is going to be won from the first 4 spots. That is my guess right now, but I think more specifically it's going to be won between the 57 or the 90. What kind of restart is the 90 going to give the field to work with, and can the 57 stay with it? That's the answers that we're going to have to get figured out here as we come through turns number 3 and 4 for what we hope to be the final time under the yellow flags circumstances tonight.
He's going to pull down in the pit road.
Back underway, green flag in the air, and I'll tell you, the 57 stayed with the 90 much better that time. Entering turn number 1, Ward gets the run, but here comes the 57, gets to the back bumper, but had to back off. He was a little bit too quick in the center of the turn. 65 of Kuhn on the outside of the 85 of Carroll down the back straightaway. Tight quarters racing, maybe a little bit of contact there, might have washed him up the track just a little bit. Eckrich is side by side with Jared Mogard behind that, but up front, 2-car length advantage for the 90 as we take 8 laps to go. Cohan really gets the surge through the center of the turn. He gained a bunch that time by, but I think the 90 might have pulled away just a little bit on corner exit. Entering turn number 3, you can see the 90 run a little bit lower, the 57 running a little bit higher. And I think the short-term run advantage by the 90 may come into play to his benefit, as he is doing a pretty good job to stabilize that lead.
Just want to point out one thing on the backstretch in the battle for 5th. They were 4 wide going into turn number 3.
4 wide. These drivers are going for it as hard as they can, as there's a lot of activity going on.
Oh, wrecked on the backstretch. 43. Almost up and over.
That's the big one, Evan. That is, oh my goodness. Look at that.
40, 44, 21.
I saw Woody Makeeng, the 40, was at the beginning of that, so let's see what happens. And I think we may get a 1-lap shootout out of this. I'm not positive, but
a lot of cars torn up from that.
Now let's focus on Woody Makeeng in the 40. Coming off turn number 2. Oh, Tom Gianni into the wall. Makeeng was just an innocent bystander, and then everybody else just got wadded up after that. So he just turned They formed a Waffle House there, smothered, battered, and covered. I think I said that in the wrong order, but the reference is still accurate.
No, it's they built a Waffle House down the back straightaway there, battered, smothered, and covered.
I like the,
That's how it goes, Corey.
You tried pulling off the accent there too, Evan, too. But in serious terms, we have 6 laps to go. We're just hitting the pace car right now. Well, not physically, but we're getting to the pace car right now. So the pits will be open for lead lap drivers on 5 laps to go. 4 laps to go will be open to the lap down drivers. We usually have 1 more lap of caution after that. So I am predicting a green, white checker.
It's like the 59 at Ryan Hart's. His car is absolutely destroyed after that. He has no front end and no rear end.
Oh, how I have to remain professional right now. I can make so many jokes off what you just said, but that car is rather damaged, as you said. But he will do his best to duke it up for 4 more laps around Kentucky Speedway.
It's like the 89 of John Kennedy getting in the lucky dog.
So what we saw in that little stint was about what we expected. The 90 gets the run on about the first 15 laps, but Cohan gets the run for the remainder. But I think Ward has enough to hold him off, even though Cohan might be a little bit faster. But how, it's Kentucky, it's a speedway, how aggressive do you really get to make a pass that maybe you can't make under normal circumstances? Do you maybe get a little rougher? Do you just, what do you do?
I think really to pass, it's going to be kind of hard to do without making contact from what we've seen tonight. But we will find out. I think if 90 of Ward makes a mistake, Cohan's going to be all over his back bumper, and he's not going to cut him a break like he may have on lap 5.
I mean, the only way, I don't think a bump and run here is going to work. Just with the amount of bumps in the track here, and as much as these drivers are already all over the place, I don't think that's going to work. I think if you're going to rough them up, it's going to be a 8 wheels is better than 4 style pass.
Or if you try a bump and run, they're going to go up into the outside wall, backwards.
Yeah, and then you might go with them. You never know. So, I mean, we don't condone that kind of racing, especially on speedways, but we know how prestigious these wins are and in your endeavor to get to the playoffs at the end of the season. So every last point counts, every playoff point counts, all that stuff. So if you see that position right in front of you and you know you want it, well, the question is, how much do you want it?
Yeah, because all of these probably top 10 drivers are seeing if they win, that's their ticket into the playoffs. They can just worry about just getting as good as they can, getting as much practice as they can for the next however many races.
Yeah, the last race of the regular season will be all the way in August 21st. That'll be at the Darlington Raceway. And then the round of 10 will include the racetracks of Las Vegas, Indianapolis, and Martinsville. And then we will end up on October 16th at the Homestead Miami Speedway here for the Cup Series in their 2018 campaign. So it'd be pretty nice to have a full season to just kind of ride back and relax and just race as hard as you can, but it's not as easy as it says.
Lights are out on the pace car, exact same top 4s we had last time, or even top 5.
And as we
didn't get much racing in.
As we said, we're going to have a green, white checker finish. Second night in a row here on PTR TV. 2-lap shootout. Remember, if we do get to the white flag, we have to make 1.5 miles. We have to get to the white flag. If we do, no matter what carnage ensues on the white flag lap, this race will finish under green flag conditions. There are no cautions on the final lap, but we can have a caution on 2 to go and end this race under the yellow flag in that circumstance.
Jeff Ward and Nick Cohan have dominated this race between the two of them. It's now waiting for the pace car to pull off the track as they're coming out of turn number 4 right now and onto the front straightaway. pace car pulling down in pit road now, just waiting on Jeff Ward. He is on the throttle. Nicholas Cohan is staying right with him.
Yeah, Cohan actually did an amazing job, and I'll tell you the 65 as well as Ryan Kuhn did. That's going to give this 57 a push, get right to the back bumper. Here comes the 85 Drew Carroll underneath for third, but Cohan taking a look.
Cohan trying to get underneath of Ward, the 57. Cohan did not get as good a run out of turn 2 as he would have liked.
65 of Kuhn doing the best he can, but that's not going to happen.
Caution is out.
That's the race, folks.
Over.
Let's see what we can find out. I want to say Mark Emerson. Oop, who is that? I saw somebody sideways.
Jonathan Holstein.
Steve Ritter really slow here.
It's like a few different incidents. Down the back straightaway, the 40 got turned around.
Woody Mahan not really having the best circumstances go on right
and
here.
And then 4 drivers trying to avoid him.
Oh my goodness. Steve, who was that?
Scott Haller and Mark Emerson. And then Steve Ritter got caught up in that.
But the white flag is out under pacing conditions here at the Kentucky Speedway. And Jeff Ward, the pole sitter tonight, he has led 61 laps. It'll be 62 once he navigates one more corner around this Kentucky Speedway. And in the second race of the Twitchy Race Reports ASRS Premier Cup Series, Jeff Ward in the number 90 machine is going to take the checkered flag tonight and win tonight's race here on Tuesday night on Primetime Racing TV.
He's got to make it about 10 more feet.
Nicholas Cohan getting right up to the side there, probably congratulating him on a hard-fought, clean race between those two as they battled for the majority of the race. Ryan Kuhn rounding out the top 3 here tonight, so we will take a minute to step away here, get these drivers out of the cars, ready for some post-race interviews, and wrap up the coverage tonight here on PTR TV, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
I grew up in Northern California. My parents were just really big race fans and took my sister and I to sprint car races pretty much every Friday and Saturday night. So I did outlaw kart racing from 7 till I was 14. And then that's when I got into 360 and 410 wing sprint cars. There's just something about dirt racing that's just, you can't get anywhere else. I enjoy going back to race them whenever I can. I get to run about 20 to 25 dirt races a year and try and put on a show every time I'm there.
Battle for the lead. Kyle Larson to the inside of Shane Stewart. Slide job, no. Larson unable to complete the pass. He'll follow Shane Stewart down the back straightaway. Stewart makes the move to the inside of Craig Kinsler. Kyle Larson goes around the outside out of turn 4. You've got a new race leader. Kyle Larson from 9th leads on lap number 23.
I'm probably just a little more relaxed, I guess, at the dirt track just because it's for fun. Where the NASCAR stuff, it's points racing and a lot bigger sponsors and stuff you have to please and all that. You're there for 3 days a week, so your approach is a little bit different there. Where sprint cars, you're there for 5 or 6 hours and moving on to the next racetrack. So I've been on iRacing, I think, since 2009 or 10. Yeah, I remember, starting out, as a rookie on there, in the legends and the late models and stuff like that. And that was fun to, have to try and get your licenses up and stuff. But it's amazing to me how, now that I get to race on a lot of the tracks that are on there, how to the T, similar because of the laser scanning and stuff like that. So all the bumps and all the visual aspects of it are very good. So when I first got to like K&N and then the Nationwide Series at the time, I would race iRacing all the time to learn as much as I could about the racetrack before I went to the actual racetrack to race. So to me, it's just for fun now. So I enjoy going on there. Actually, I don't enjoy going on there all the time because I don't win a lot. So it's frustrating to see myself struggle to run top 10 in an Xfinity race or something like that and get beat by Logan Seavey every time I run a sprint car. So the level of competition on iRacing is better than real life. I mean, you've got thousands of drivers on there that, you know, a lot of them are probably better than the people you see on TV. They just haven't had the opportunities to make it, but can kick butt on there, and you can spend all day long running thousands of laps a day, so you can get yourself, you know, really good at it. So competition level is just unbelievable, really, on there. I mean, everybody's been asking for dirt on there for forever. So when they announced it, I got really, really excited. And honestly, it's blown my expectations away. The cars, to me, drive really good when the track's hooked up. The visual part of the racetrack changing is amazing. How you can run some laps and see it start to get shiny, and then you feel it getting, you know, slick. You know, areas of the racetrack getting dirty, and then, you know, you get some cars run through there and it cleans off and gets grip back. It's nuts. You know, the tear-off feature is really cool. You know, watching the wing move backwards and forwards. I run with the virtual reality headset too, so being able to like look down and see everything, it looks extremely realistic. So yeah, it blew my expectations away. And it's only gonna get better, really.
And we're back here on PTR TV for the post-race show, as we just saw a hectic green-white checker finish with Jeff Ward being the beneficiary of the victory here tonight. So let's grab these drivers. We have the first and second place finishers here tonight, and Evan Black will talk to the runner-up, Nicholas Cohan.
Buddy that, you know, you
so,
can trust.
Nick Cohan, you come home with a second place finish. What are your thoughts after the race?
Really pumped up. Also bummed out at the same time. Had a fast car tonight, definitely top 3, and led the most laps, got halfway points, so can't be too mad, but of course we would have liked to start the year off with 2 in a row, but we'll take second.
How is the cars handling out there? It looks like they're getting pretty loose out of the corners and through the tri-oval.
It's funny because me and Brian were talking before the race of how the car here is like, it's kind of odd compared to another, you know, other tracks that are this shape and this size. It's just seems like you can't really be comfortable as long as you can at other tracks. Like you just feel, you come into the corner, you get on the brakes, the car kind of just like shakes around, and it doesn't like settle on the track. There's a lot of bumps, and really makes the car bounce around a lot, and it's hard to keep, you know, in a consistent, you know, lap after lap, hitting the same consistent line, and it's tough. But the setup wasn't too bad. It was just a little tight in the center, and then it was like real loose off, so it made for a tough race, but it was a lot of fun.
With those 2 cautions we had with 20 to go, did you think you'd have a shot at Jeff Ward?
You know, I think if we had longer runs, I really think we could have got the lead there. But I just was not good in the short runs. I just could not get the speed that some of these other guys were getting on the initial starts, and it was tough to even pass once the car would settle in for me. So I think, like I said, I think if we had a long run, I think we could have got him. But in the short runs there, Jeff was really, I think, the best in the short runs, and that really worked out in his favor there at the end. So good job to him and the rest of the field for putting on a good race.
All right, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to?
Yeah, just gotta give a shout out to Dizzy Motorsports, all my teammates, Toyota, CJ Automotive, Lucas Oil, and a shout out to you guys for putting the broadcast together, and ASRS for having the league.
All right, well, thank you for talking with us, and congrats on your finish.
Thank you.
Now, Corey will talk to your winner tonight, Jeff Ward.
All right, Jeff Ward, after a hard-fought 120 laps here tonight, is your victor tonight. Jeff, you had a really hard-fought battle with the 57 of Cohan for the majority of the race. Looks like you had the short-run car, but he really gave it to you on the long runs. Talk about how that played out, and then ultimately how you felt on those last couple restarts.
Yeah, Corey, that was a heck of a night there, man. I like to say it was fun, but that was more stressful than fun. It was a handful to hold on to tonight, and battling there with Nick side by side, that's always fun. You know, that's one fun thing that we could take from it. I think we raced pretty clean together, and I know we got a lot of respect for each other. So he had the best long run car, there's no doubt about that. You know, he gapped us by 4 or 5 seconds when we had that first real long stint there. So he had probably the best car, but like he said, you know, in his interview there, we was pretty good on the short run, so that kind of played in our favor with the yellows we had at the end. And I'm just I was glad to see those yellows, because I knew he was coming. I knew he was gonna stick his nose in there and try all he could, and luckily was able to hang on to it. And you know, I like to finish these things under green, but I think I was glad to see that yellow there at the end of that one.
Yeah, definitely worked out in your favor. And just talk about how the groove played out here. It looked like even when he was taking those stabs on the inside, you were able to play defense there, running the outside and kind of stall his momentum out. How was that working out for you?
Well, yeah, when you run up high, you can kind of pin the guy a little bit so he can't get that run up off by the wall. So that was kind of working, but he was so good down there that the first couple times he passed us, you know, he made it look pretty easy. He was just able to get back in the throttle down there where I tried it and I didn't have no grip. I'd get loose up off exit and about spin the thing out. So, you know, he did a good job on that. And, you know, it's cool that Kentucky was kind of multi-grooved. You could run the bottom and the high side, and I think that's 2 weeks in a row we've seen the track, you know, the dynamic track play into effect where you can kind of run two different groups. Richmond was the same way, so that's a step in the right direction for the sim, and just really looking forward to running these races this season and seeing what other tracks has that effect.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun for us to watch here in the booth as well, Jeff. Well, you finished second last week, you take it a step better, and you win tonight's race from the pole. So who do you want to give your shout-outs to?
I want to say thanks to Jim at American Sim Racing. Thanks to my team, Loud Pedal Motorsports, Brian and Mike. Always thankful for them having me on the team. It's a heck of a team. Love them guys to death. I'd like to thank, I always give a shout out to my dad. He usually tries to watch these broadcasts every chance he gets, and hopefully that was a fun one for him to watch. And just thanks to friends and family, and you know, thanks to Nick for racing clean tonight. Because of him racing clean, that was able to put on a good show, I think. So that's about it.
All right, tonight's winner, Jeff Ward. Congrats again, and thanks for talking to us. We'll catch you next week, hopefully.
All right, thanks, guys.
So that's your top 3 interviews here tonight. We'll wrap up coverage with the final results here from the Kentucky Speedway. Jeff Ward, as we just spoke to, was tonight's winner. Nicholas Cohan in second, Ryan Kuhn in third. Then we have Drew Carroll fourth, Jared Mokart in fifth, and rounding out the top 10, Jordan Ashland, Scott Eckrich, Brian Yazik, Jared Haggerty, and Sam Maxwell.
And Tim Nutt finishing 11th, Alan Young in 12th, Ty Hester in 13th, Pete Baskins in 14th, Jamie Moore in 15th, and then rounding up the top 20 is Jim Foose, Steve Baha, Josh Gallagher, Tom Gianni, and Troy Haight. That is the top 20.
The remaining results will flash by on the screen, but per usual, we want to give a shout out to our channel sponsors here on PTR TV. Of course, starting with Air Movement and Fabrications, family-run business formally established in 2012 with over 25 years of experience in the ventilation industry. We offer a wide variety of services. This includes ducting, ventilation, extraction, and canopies. If you're in the Nottingham, UK area, Air Movement and Fabrications is the ventilation service to trust. Also, Krutz Custom Graphics, racing shirts, hero cards, paint schemes, and much more. From local racers to big race teams, we've got your back. Krutz Custom Graphics is the motorsports design specialist. Also, iBog, iRacing broadcast overlay graphics, custom graphics, coding, and theme design for iRacing's 2 main overlays, ATVO and IRTVO. If you're a broadcast company, look for custom overlays to make your channel shine, talk to Jason Allison with iBog iRacing broadcast overlay graphics. And then, of course, our Patreon. keep broadcast quality high and cost low for the league owners, we need a little help from the fans. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/PTRTV. If you are a patron, you will get rewards varying depending on how much you donate. Again, become a patron at patreon.com/PTRTV, and we do want to give a shout out on the bottom of the screen to the people who have contributed thus far, which again help bring our Facebook simulcast to us here tonight. So thanks to them, and thanks for everyone for tuning in to tonight's coverage of the ASRS Premier Cup Series by Twitchy Race Report. Stay tuned tomorrow night for the Hardline Contender Series as their playoffs begin at Watkins Glen. We'll also bring in the Cup Series for them on Friday night. A couple new leagues in the mix here on PTR TV. Full week of action going forth almost for the entire 2018 campaign. So like, subscribe, and stay tuned for all the action. Signing out of the booth is Corey Silva and Evan Black tonight. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good night.